Hi there, in this video you're going to learn about simple events. Your objectives for today are to find the probability of simple events and to identify simple events and their complements. The probability. Probability is a chance that some event is going to occur. So let's say the probability that it's going to rain today is 75% or something like that. A simple event is an event that has one outcome or a collection of outcomes. An outcome is a possible result in a probability experiment. In other words, if you were to flip a coin, you have two outcomes, heads or tails. The probability of some event occurring is equal to the number of favorable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. So the top is really what you want out of the total outcomes. This is a scale that we use when we talk about probability. If it's 0%, then it's impossible. If the probability is 50%, then it's as likely to happen as not. If it's 100%, then it's certain. If it's between 0 and 50%, it's unlikely. If it's between 50 and 100%, then it's likely. Let's look at our first example. There are 6 equally likely outcomes if a number cube with sides labeled 1 through 6 is rolled. Find the probability of 6, or in other words, the probability of rolling a 6. Okay, so P of 6 means the probability that you get a 6. So the number of favorable outcomes. How many sides on a cube is the number 6, right? How many sides has the number 6 on it? Well, only 1, right? So your number of favorable outcomes is 1. Out of your total number of possible outcomes, there are 6 sides that are on a die, right, on a cube. So it's 1 out of 6, or 17%. If we divide 1 divided by 6, you get like 0.16, and I just rounded up, so 17%. Describe the likelihood of the event. This is unlikely because if we look back here, if it's between 0 and 50%, it is considered unlikely. Okay? Moving forward. A coin is tossed. Find the probability of the coin landing on heads. Write your answer as a fraction, percent, and decimal. All right, so let's start with our number of favorable outcomes, right? We want it to land on heads. So there's 2 outcomes when you flip a coin, heads or tails, right? We want it to land on heads, so we're going to say it's 1 out of 2 because there are 2 outcomes. Now, half as a decimal is 0.5 or 50%. In case you don't know how to go from a fraction to decimal to percent, divide 1 divided by 2 to get 0.5, right? And then when you want to get it to be a percent, you just multiply your decimal by 100 or move the decimal over 2 places to the right. So describe the likelihood of the event as likely to happen as not, because we're here at 50-50, right? We're at a 50-50 chance. All right, let's move on. Complementary events are 2 events which either one or the other must happen, but they cannot happen at the same time, okay? For example, a coin can land on tails or not on tails. The sum of the probability of an event and its complement is 1 or 100. So let's look at more examples. A number cube with 6 sides is rolled. What is the probability of not rolling a 5? Well, how many sides are not 5? 5, right? All the sides on a die, right? All the sides on a die are not 5 except for 1. So it would be 5 out of 6. Because your total numbers on the cube, there are 6 numbers in the cube, right? What is the probability of rolling a 5? Well, how many are 5, right? How many sides on a die are 5? 1 out of the total numbers 6, right? So here is a complement, right? The not 5, right? Here is the probability of rolling a 5. Guess what? 5, 6 plus 1, 6 gets you 6, 6, which is equal to 1 whole or 100%. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a complement and the event. Okay, so an event and its complement. A bag contains 5 blue, 8 red, and 7 green marbles. A marble is selected at random. Find the probability that the marble is not red. Okay, well, let's look at this. 5 plus 8 plus 7 gets you 20. Okay. How many of them are not red? Well, you could either do 20 minus 8 to get 12, or you could just add 5 plus 7 and still get 12. Okay, so you have 12 out of 20. Mr. Harada surveyed his class and discovered that 30% of his students have blue eyes. Identify the complement of this event, then find its probabilities. then find its probability. Okay, so the complement, well, if 30% have blue eyes, then how many do not have blue eyes? That's the complement. So we know that the probability of some event and its complement add up to 100. The probability that we're given is 30%. So what percent can you add to 30 to get you 100? Well, 70, right? So the probability of the complement is 70%. In other words, how many students do not have blue eyes? 70%. Okay, concluding thoughts. The probability of some event happening is equal to the number of favorable outcomes over the total number of outcomes. And the probability of some event plus the probability of its complement is equal to 1 or 100. All right, I hope you learned about simple events. Thank you for watching.